Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez here. In this video, I'm going to show you some photographs in print form of where I come from, Puerto Rico. I'll give you a little history. My father's parents came from Spain, España. My grandmother is from the island of Mallorca. My grandfather comes from the Galician area of northern Spain and very close to Portugal. And they migrated to Puerto Rico via Mexico. Actually, they came through Mexico and then they came to Puerto Rico probably in the 1890s, and they settled in the town of Ponce, which is the southernmost town. They call it the Pearl of the South, named after Juan Ponce de Leon, who is famous for chasing the Fountain of Youth in southern Florida. Well, he became Puerto Rico's first governor. And so I'll give you a little bit of history, because even I, who was born there, educated there, really didn't care too much about our history until I got to be old, and now I love anything to do with history, anyone's history. So I just plucked this right out of Wikipedia. I hope it's correct. Puerto Rico, Spanish for rich port. Officially, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, Spanish, Estado Libre Asociado de Puerto Rico. It basically means free associated state of Puerto Rico. Associated to who? The United States. And so it was incorporated territory of the United States located in the northeast Caribbean Sea. It is an archipelago that includes the main island of Puerto Rico and a number of smaller islands such as Mona, Culebra, and Vieques. Mona is a little tiny island off the western coast, quite a bit out. It's sort of between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and Haiti, the island of Española, which is that big island that contains those two countries. It is the most amazing place you will ever see in your life. It's like stepping back into the Triassic era. I swear, it is prehistoric looking, and it's uninhabited except by iguanas and a few other flora. But I just saw a documentary on it, and it is amazing. I didn't even know about it. So Mona means female monkey, actually. So Culebra is a small island off the eastern side, and until recently it was pretty much deserted. Not too many people lived there. It was kind of one of those places where you would take your boat and you yourself would go across. Now they have ferry boats that you can go visit, and it's become a huge place for college students during spring break. Shenanigans galore goes on there. And Vieques is the larger of the three islands that makes the archipelago, and so that one is well occupied. There was a military base there as well, and that's now closed. The capital and most populous city is San Juan. Official languages are Spanish and English. Spanish predominates. The island population is approximately 3.4 million people. Now, keep in mind, it is 90 miles from east to west and about 35 miles from north to south. That's a lot of people. But it doesn't really seem that populated when you're there. Puerto Rico's rich history, tropical climate, diverse natural scenery, traditional cuisine, and attractive tax incentives make it a popular destination for travelers from around the world. Originally populated by the indigenous Taino people, my mother is Taino. The Taino people came from Central America and South America and basically filled the Caribbean islands. The island was claimed in 1493 by Christopher Columbus. I believe that was his second voyage to the Caribbean, looking for the route to India, supposedly. Christopher Columbus for the crown of Castile, La Corona de Castilla, and his later endured invasions attempts from the French, the Dutch, and the British. 4 centuries of Spanish colonial government transformed the island's ethnic, cultural, and physical landscapes, primarily with waves of African slaves and Canarians from the Canarian Islands, and the Andalusians In the Spanish imperial imagination, Puerto Rico played a secondary but strategic role when compared to the wealthier colonies like Peru or Mexico. Such a distant administrative control continued right up until the end of the 19th century, helping to introduce a distinctive Creole Hispanic culture and language that combined elements of the natives, the Taínos, the Africans, and the Iberian people. In 1898, following the Spanish-American War, the United States appropriated Puerto Rico together with most former Spanish colonies under the terms of the Treaty of Paris. So let's look at some photos here. This is who I am. So I was born in 49. My father was born in 1920 in Ponce, where my grandparents settled. My father met my mother right next door through facing kitchen windows. My mother was the oldest of 8, and my father fell in love with her and stole her away from his older brother, who was also interested in my mom. But my father, being the more aggressive of the two, actually won my mother. And it's very sad. My uncle actually died single and still in love with my mom. At least that's what she told me. One hell of a love story. All right, so the quintessential view that you see when you are coming in on a cruise ship into San Juan Bay, which is, I think, one of the deepest ports in the world, actually. It can house the largest aircraft carriers you can think of. It's so deep and huge. This is El Morro. El Morro is the fortress that protected the main entrances on the northern or access to the island from all of those attackers, all of those people that tried to invade the island. And so this is the old structure. It's from several hundred years old. Here's another view of it. You can see how amazing it is. Humongous walls. They still have the cannons up there. These are the lookouts for the guards. And again, remember, this was all Spanish possession during that time. And I've been there a couple of times. You know, when I lived there, I wasn't really interested in anything to do with the island. It's after I moved away that I became very nostalgic. And every time I visit, then I go and do the tourist thing. And I check everything out that I used to just ignore or just not care about as a kid. Very sad. This is a typical cobblestone street in San Juan. These bricks are actually glazed. They're not regular pavers. They're actually glazed and treated in a kiln, so they last literally forever. I mean, the worst that can happen is that they start to crack, but they literally last forever. You can walk on them, you can drive on them, and nothing really happens. It's basically just like the European cobblestone streets, but this is typical of Spanish. Here's a typical Spanish arches. This is one of the Spanish buildings in Old San Juan, or El Viejo San Juan. We have a section of San Juan which is basically preserved the way it was several hundred years ago. Actually, you could visit all of these places, and this is what I do when I go back. I try to relive everything that I missed during my childhood, because I was very rebellious and I wanted to come to the mainland, the United States. I didn't want to stay in Puerto Rico anymore. I didn't know what I was missing. This is off the coast of Ponce, the southern part. This is the Caribbean Sea. The northern part is the Atlantic Ocean. So this is the Caribbean Sea. As you can see, it is different than the ocean. Ocean is just deep and waves, and this is more calm and more shallow, and lots of marine life and beauty beyond compare. And again, Christine, a tree. How about that, huh? This is the famous fountain in Ponce in the plaza. Again, it's just from a low angle, getting the sun and capturing the clouds. Our clouds are always like this, by the way. This is in the island of Vieques, the larger of the 3 islands. Remember, Mona is uninhabited. Culebra is partly inhabited and basically full of visitors and tourists. The beaches are so pristine that pretty soon they'll be not so pristine because it's becoming such a popular visitors place. Beautiful, super modern looking spiral staircase, just gorgeous. While you're in Vieques, you have the opportunity, because the island is relatively small, you can get a chance to either get a sunrise on the east or a sunset on the western part. So this is one such sunset. This is a colonial building. You can see the type of architecture, very European, ceramic tiles for the house's number. Unfortunately, yeah, there's a lot of crime, so people kind of protect themselves, and so you could imagine this the only entrance. There's no way to get in, and it's pretty strong door. But that's what happens. That's what happens in a lot of these Caribbean places. I remember us having bars in our windows, and it's kind of sad, but that's just a fact of life over there. The same thing happens in the Dominican Republic, Cuba, and Haiti, and all of those places. This is in Vieques. This is a bunch of fishing boats. This is the Puerto Rican flag right here. And nice and picturesque little shot. I used to love to go to Fajardo, which is on the eastern part of the island, and go early in the morning when the fishermen would be going out and take pictures of that. Remember, I was doing this since I was 11. Again, a sunset. This is in Culebra, the next smallest island next to Vieques. This is the beach, one of the beaches, and again, like I said, it is a big tourist attraction because it is so pristine still today. If you go visit Puerto Rico and you're there for a week or so, make sure you take the ferry to Culebra. Okay, thank you once again. I hope you enjoyed this bit of history and photography. Please subscribe, share, and like. And until the next time, happy printing, everyone. Bye-bye.